I'm pretty sure this is gonna kick up some shit. But let's get to it.
What? Oh. It's Mr. Madness, baby. Marbury. Dick Jones. And now they call me Fire.
Yeah. Now, Kwame Brown has seemed to make mainstream headlines again after some comments on the Pivot podcast. And it highlights a point that I always made about his whole bus life promotion that I think is a problem that we see in Black youth and in Black professions across the board, whether it be sports, music, whatever. So I want to get into a bit of this podcast, and I'll come back with my thoughts.
You know, but with that, I do want to ask you, like I ask all the guests, what to this point has been your biggest pivot in life?
My biggest pivot, like you said, just not caring. Like for a while when I was young, I really cared about making people understand that I'm not this bus and this and that. When I was maybe 25, 26, when I was still young enough to do something about it. I'm 40. I don't play basketball. I don't care. I just want people to see the difference in how the media spin these narratives and destroy these men's name. And now I'm at the point now that regardless of whatever you call me, that's not going to stop my commercial real estate from bringing in what it brings in and things of that nature.
And I want to touch on that point because I agree with that in part. But then you got to understand, you know, I've always pointed out the contradiction. You know, you say that, but I mean, this dude got a lot of content slamming certain players, especially LeBron James. But let's get back into it.
Words of Jamarcus Russell, if you're going to call me a bust, make sure you put the biggest in front of that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Well, speaking of bust, you said, like, the marketing deals I understand, because that word is negative.
Yeah.
You can't find bust mean positive anywhere. Well, I ain't.
There you go.
Niggas.
Never mind, there's more.
You can use bust that work for you.
Yeah, it worked for me pretty well. But to that point, like, did it hurt? Because you are the number one pick. Everybody knew you rich. Did bust mess up the women? Was there anybody at a club talking about, oh, that he a bust? Or was it status quo for the first pick of the draft?
I think it was better.
What?
Being a bust is better.
How's that?
LeBron can't do what I can do.
Nigga, please.
See how Channing said, how was that? Like, nigga, is you crazy?
Where he go, I was a bust. Ain't nobody take pictures of me everywhere I went.
But you still big as hell. You can't
It don't matter.
sneak nowhere.
I can fit in a Corolla. I'm just gonna tell you. Hey, look, it was better being a bust. Trust me.
Yeah.
Boy,
You enjoyed every second of NBA, even through that rough time, through the time where you cared what people said, through the young Kwame growing up. The I don't want to keep calling it anger because you say you're not angry, but that
No, it was anger.
It was anger.
Yeah.
So that anger didn't negatively affect your life as you moved up through, which should be, and I think to your point, which was a great time of life, which was living out a dream, but you always had this cloud over you that was that word bust.
And give them credit for that. That's one thing with people, like when it's time to heal, when people have to heal from whatever type of trauma you may call it, admitting what it is, admitting how you feel, that's a big step. So I'm just saying, sometimes you got to get a devil its due. And, you know, him admitting that, you know, there was definitely anger surrounding this. I mean, that's a big step. Like you got to give it up.
Right. Well, Craig Hodges played an important role in that too. I got with Craig Hodges and he was showing me how to shoot free throws after I tore my shoulder up, and he was just like, he just walked up to me and got close. He said, "Look, I can see you wearing the pressure on your shoulders. Like you really care. I can tell." He was like, let me tell you something. You got all that money. Fuck them free throws. Don't care about making no free throws. He's like, just relax and just shoot it. And he would just come to me and talk to me about just let it go. And in real life, he would just say, just let it go. Anything that you're going through, just let it go. And once people always say this cliche saying, let go and let God. But when you really just really sit back and think about what it really means, like I can't control whether somebody think I'm a bust or not.
And that's the thing. He actually could control if people thought that he was a bust or not by putting in the effort. Being a bust isn't a subjective statement. Like they're just not throwing that around loosely. That is something that you earn. That is something that you can control.
So now it doesn't affect me. I just go out and I just do what I'm supposed to do. And if you look at my life compared to most people, if you think that's a bust, that's on you.
Kwame Brown had a terrible career. And when I talk about work ethic and being able to put up a certain quality, a certain standard, that's the problem that we see with the youth today, even more so, is that everything is about a bag and we always resort back to the money, but we don't hold ourselves a standard about what we present to people. I always thought that one of the biggest things that Kwame's missed, or maybe one of the biggest opportunities that he missed, was to be able to tell Black youth that when you get these rare opportunities, especially coming from nothing, you should be doing everything possible so that you don't become a bust. You have a once in a lifetime opportunity, an opportunity now that we see with the expansion of the NBA that spans across the whole world. You're competing with the whole world for these limited spots and these limited positions. And the last thing that you should promote to a kid is that, oh, bus life is better. And once you get in, as long as you get the bag, the results really don't matter. You already got paid. That's why one of the realest statements ever was, man, they should have never gave you niggas money.
Wide nose having motherfuckers. They should have never gave you niggas money.
You pay a nigga up front and ain't no telling what you're going to get. And Kwame Brown is an example of that. That advice that Craig Hodges gave him, it was great advice for his mental at the time to shoot free throws. But I don't think it's something that you could just apply to the overall situation that was his career and kind of made him the laughing stock of the NBA even to this day. You know, it's almost not a year that goes by and then there's not some sort of Kwame Brown reference to how tragically bad his career was. The points that he made, they make sense from certain aspects, but I feel that he kind of conflates 2 points, 2 narratives. Yes, while you get to maintain a certain anonymity as far as being a bust and you don't have to deal with the pressures of being a superstar like a LeBron James, that is an upside to that. And I mean, anybody that understands how the entertainment industry works and how all that goes, yes, there is a plus side to that. There is some sort of sense of reality that you get to keep to yourself that at the end of the day, let's be honest, it probably more or less or more likely put you in line with God's purpose than anything else. But that's why I say that we come in and we're kind of conflating, because the issue was never really about that, but it was always based around his play in the business of what NBA was. So yeah, on one hand, you could kind of take from it like, hey, I did make all this money and everything. And that's a success at the end of the day. But at the same time, that very attitude that he said that he kind of picked up talking to Craig Hodges, that attitude is one of the main problems that we see people complaining about with the NBA today, that none of these kids really care. They get paid from the gate. And so the need to perform or, win, chase championships, the things that really make the sport entertaining for the crowd and the fans, it really doesn't matter anymore. All that is went out of the window now because people relate their success to the check that they're getting. And unfortunate part of that is it kind of puts it back on like, oh, okay, well, you won, you got this money and everything, but we ignore what happens between the lines. At any job that you get, you're going to be paid to perform or deliver some sort of service. And so nobody's above the judgment of the services that they provide. And that's always been the whole narrative with Kwame Brown. Is that like, yo, this dude has once in a lifetime opportunity for young black men, and that he pretty much squandered it. And so my biggest thing was always like, man, instead of trying to tell people as if like this idea of bus life, an idea of building some sort of reputation from being a failure in your profession, instead of making that seem like that's like a goal and accomplishment, I always felt that he could teach or really show young black men that, hey, you know what I'm saying? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, man. You're in the NBA. You got to do X, Y, Z. You could do this. You can do so much more. You could go further with it. You know, stay focused. I didn't do these certain things, and my career turned out like this because of such. But this idea, this mentality that you see with a lot of black people now, that once you get the bag, then oh, well, whatever, you could say what we want. We don't hold each other to any type of standard, or we don't ask each other for any type of quality or output. And you just see that across the board in a lot of forms. So that was like one of the things that always got me about the whole bus life message. Like, one end, yeah, he has reason to be happy that he is where he is, you know, and you can't take that from him. But at the end of the day, you can't ignore poor performance and poor outputs. The second part that should get anybody at least warmed up, boiling a little bit, is always the contrast and the comparing between him and LeBron James, especially coming from somebody who wanted to be like a voice or advocate of sorts for respect for the players, right? And yet he's joined one of the most ridiculous hate bandwagons that there probably has ever been in the NBA. You can say a lot of things about LeBron James, but the idea that somehow we can like really legitimately insult this man's play and what he does for the sport and the business of the NBA, it's just insane. And then that alone, with the rhetoric that Kwame pushes, and along with Carcino and a lot of other guys, I just think is really ridiculous. Like what that dude does and what he's doing now at 38 years old, 20 years in, is incredible. And we're just in different times now to where it is really okay to hate. I didn't grow up like that. Like I grew up like you didn't want to be the hater. And it's like now people spend so much time picking and dissecting everything at every turn, at every cause, every moment, every little microsecond of somebody's career or somebody's life, to the point that we can't even give credit where it's damn sure due. And if anybody deserves credit, it doesn't matter who you think is the GOAT. None of that. If anybody deserves credit, it would be LeBron James.
Damn right.
I really don't know where we find this hostility and animosity and vitriol constantly spewing about LeBron James. Like, this dude has been an example. But it's funny because LeBron James, like how many would argue many other players, is what Kwame Brown should have been. And I think that is what he should be telling his subscribers, his fans, the youth that he claims that he wants to reach. So once in a lifetime opportunity, and you can either be LeBron James or you could be a bust and you could be a laughing stock. You know what I mean? And however you choose to deal with that, that's on you. But life's a bitch and reality is a motherfucker. But let me know what y'all think down in the comments. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That'll let you know when I'm on here giving y'all that grease. Until next time, I'm out. Bye!
In this moment, yes,
what you trying to be? Crying to every guy you see. Game that usually work on them lanes, but you can't lie to me. Living in irony, truth but not entirely. Beauty skin deep and you only deep as the eye can see. Doing what's manual, stack my chips on the annual, but you average your best and that's word to Kevin Samuels. Now what's your predicate? Strong but still delicate. Offering package deal, but with me, what's the relevance? Can have anyone instead of you. Get some sense what you better do. Expecting me to change when I'm 30 steps up ahead of you. Lot of lies been fed to you. Hold up your scarlet letter too. And since you know better, I think it's time you do better, boo. It's acceptable in the moment with no opponent. Knowing you really want it is magical if you own it. You dying to get a cut, I'm dying to get a nut. So keep your good lies, cause I'm buying no matter what.